请大家就座，请大家入座。高级别对话全体会议即将开始。Ladies and gentlemen, kindly take your seats. The plenary of the high-level dialogue will start shortly. Please take your seats. Thank you very much. 请大家就座。Ladies and gentlemen, we will start the plenary shortly. So kindly take your seats, please. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Distinguished Vice Premier Zhang Gaoli, distinguished heads of state and government, distinguished heads of international organizations, ministers, government representatives, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. The plenary session of the high-level dialogue of the Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation now begins. Just now, at the opening ceremony, President Xi Jinping expounded on the Silk Road spirit, reviewed the journey of exchange and mutual learning among great civilizations initiated by the ancient Silk Road, took stock of the fruitful outcomes produced in the building of the Belt and Road over the past 4 years, and put forth a new pattern and roadmap for strategic cooperation on Belt and Road. You also identify the key direction and priority areas in pursuing this initiative and demonstrated the determination and the sincerity of China in pursuing the Belt and Road together with other countries in the world and international organizations. President Putin, President Erdogan, and Secretary General Guterres also delivered speeches at the opening ceremony. The high-level plenary session will invite 14 heads of state and government, and also government representatives, heads of international organizations, and the president of the World Economic Forum to speak, following the theme of Belt and Road Cooperation for Common Prosperity. The participants will discuss the vision of Belt and Road Cooperation, build regional and global partnerships, inject new impetus into world economic recovery, and provide effective solutions for deepening economic globalization. And I'll first invite Vice Premier Zhang Gaoli of the State Council to deliver speech.
Distinguished heads of state and government, distinguished heads of international organizations, distinguished representatives of countries, the business community, and academics, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. In this lovely season of May, we are gathered here in Beijing for the Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation. We are here to discuss ways of cooperation and development. On this occasion of significant importance, I'd like to extend on behalf of the Chinese government warm welcome and sincere thanks to all of you present here today. Driven by the desire to realize common development, Chinese President Xi Jinping has proposed the Belt and Road Initiative. In the past 4 years, more than 100 countries and international organizations have come to actively support and participate in this initiative, turning the Belt and Road from a concept into real actions, and from vision to reality. Following the Silk Road spirit of peace and cooperation, openness and inclusiveness, mutual learning and mutual benefit, we, countries along the Belt and Road, are working together to renew this important spirit. And we are inspired to pursue common development and prosperity with expanded friendship, greater confidence, and enhanced cooperation, so that we can achieve common prosperity and development. Just now, at the opening ceremony, President Xi Jinping delivered a warm remark. He expounded the essence of the Silk Road spirit. He took stock of the rich progress in the Belt and Road Initiative, articulated 5 aspects of road for peace, prosperity, openness, innovation, and civilization. He also drew a beautiful vision for the Belt and Road Initiative and set out the direction for the future. We need to focus our efforts on win-win cooperation, pursue dialogue instead of confrontation, partnership instead of alliance, and build partnership, so that the Belt and Road will become a road for peace. We need to focus on development, which is of fundamental importance, to work on economic integration, interconnected development, and shared benefits, so that the Belt and Road will lead to prosperity. We need to focus on building open cooperation platform to promote orderly flow of production elements, efficient allocation of resources, and deep integration of markets, so that the Belt and Road will be a road of openness. We need to focus on promoting innovation-driven development, optimize environment for innovation, pool innovation resources, and build a highland for innovation, so that the Belt and Road will be a pathway to innovation. We need to focus on deepening multi-level people-to-people exchange, to encourage countries to enhance mutual understanding, mutual respect, and mutual trust, so that the Belt and Road will become a road for civilization. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, policy, infrastructure, trade, finance, and people-to-people connectivity is the key component of the Belt and Road Initiative. We need to focus on the connectivity in the 5 areas to pull consensus, elevate cooperation level, and build new type of platform for cooperation, so that the Belt and Road Initiative will deliver greater benefits to relevant countries and their people. We need to further step up policy connectivity to solidify the political foundation for the Belt and Road Initiative. China has signed cooperation agreements with over 40 countries and international organizations, and has conducted institutionalized production capacity cooperation with over 30 countries. During this forum, a number of cooperation agreements and action plans will be signed on policy connectivity. In the face of new opportunities and new challenges, it is important for us to further deepen political mutual trust, have closer high-level engagement, and further synergize development strategies, and complement each other with our respective strengths, and have equal participation for common development. We need to identify the roadmap and time frame for cooperation, improve mechanisms for cooperation, provide stronger policy support, and create a fair, equitable, open, and transparent environment for development. We need to be mindful of the importance of shared benefit, to make concerted efforts and build consensus and synergy, so that the Belt and Road Initiative will continue to move forward. We need to further enhance infrastructure connectivity to keep improving the infrastructure network of the Belt and Road Initiative. Infrastructure connectivity has become a highlight in the building of the Belt and Road Initiative. A number of landmark projects are being implemented in an orderly manner. Projects such as the China-Laos Railway, Jakarta-Bandung High-Speed Rail, the Hungary-Serbia Railway are making sound progress. The Guada Port and the Piraeus Port, among others, are under construction. The China Railway Express have made over 3,900 trips to 29 cities in 11 European countries, including Russia, Germany, Poland, and Spain. While actively advancing the physical connectivity of land, maritime, and air transport and the Internet, we also need to strengthen the institutional connectivity of policies, rules, and standards. We will jointly build a modern infrastructure system with focus on railway, highway, aviation, waterway, electricity, oil and gas pipeline network, and energy internet. At the same time, we will strengthen the dovetailing and cooperation in planning, policies, standards, rules, law enforcement, and supervision to promote connectivity and transport facilitation. We will further strengthen trade connectivity to keep creating a dynamic market of the Belt and Road Initiative. Countries along the Belt and Road are endowed with a large population, huge market potential, and high economic complementarity among themselves. Chinese businesses have set up 56 economic and trade cooperation zones in over 20 countries. In 2016, trade between China and relevant countries reached over $1 trillion. Chinese investment was $14.5 billion. We need to further promote trade and investment, liberalization and facilitation, expand mutual opening among regional markets, build a Belt and Road free trade network to boost regional and economic and world economic growth. We will actively advance cooperation in equipment manufacturing, high technology, clean energy, green industry, and environmental protection, implement a number of influential industrial cooperation programs, and set up a number of demonstration zones and bases. We will maintain and grow an open world economy so that economic globalization will be open, inclusive, balanced, and deliver win-win benefits to all. We need to further strengthen financial connectivity to build a diversified investment and financing system for the Belt and Road Initiative. China has proposed the AIIB and set up a Silk Road Fund, which have already provided loans to priority programs to relevant countries with a total number of dozens of billions of dollars. We need to continue to innovate the international finance and investment models to put in place a multi-tiered financial platform and encourage commercial financial institutions to set up branches so that we can have a long-term, stable, sustainable financial guarantee system that can put risk under control for the Belt and Road Initiative. President Xi just now announced that China will contribute to the Silk Road Fund an additional 100 billion RMB, encourage financial institutions to carry out RMB overseas fund businesses. The National Development Bank of China, Import and Export Bank of China will provide special RMB loans to support infrastructure, production capacity, and financial cooperation under the Belt and Road Initiative. We will further strengthen people-to-people connectivity and build a bridge of friendship between countries along the Belt and Road. The Belt and Road Initiative is blessed with good timing, geographical advantage, and popular support. Asia, Europe, and Africa are important cradles for human civilization and for centuries have created diverse and colorful culture and time-honored history. Along the Belt and Road, peoples of different countries have built mutual understanding, have been engaging with each other for common progress. Today, in the 21st century, it is all the more important for us to further carry forward the ancient Silk Road spirit and build bridges and bond for friendship and engagement. In recent years, the Chinese government have been working with relevant countries to conduct Culture Year, Tourism Year, Art Festival, and various kinds of people-to-people and cultural programs. About half of the foreign students in China come from countries along the Belt and Road. And this has consolidated the popular support for the furtherance of this initiative. We need to intensify people-to-people and cultural exchanges through closer cooperation in education, science and technology, culture, media, health, medical services, and non-governmental ties, so that people of different civilizations will engage with each other and learn from each other, and we can build closer mutual understanding and amity among the peoples. We also need to better protect historical and cultural heritages and design unique tourism products Ecological and environmental protection is an important part of the Belt and Road Initiative. We need to really practice the new concept of green development, advocate green, low-carbon, circular, and sustainable way of life and production. We need to work more intensively to protect our environment, to treat pollution, rehabilitate the ecosystem, and promote circular economy, and work together to cope with climate change, so that the Belt and Road will become a road, a green Silk Road. Think tanks are important media for the exchange of ideas and the spread of ideas. We need to be creative in setting up models for think tank cooperation, build think tank alliance and cooperation network, and deepen exchange and cooperation in various fields among think tanks. The Chinese government welcome foreign think tanks' active participation and initiation in the research of the Belt and Road Initiative, so that in the exchange of ideas and wisdom, more valuable ideas and intellectual crystallization will be realized to better serve the Belt and Road Initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, today China is standing at a new starting point. We have been guided by the principle of making steady progress while maintaining stability, implement the vision of innovative, coordinated, green, open, and shared development, to adapt to and guide the new normal of the economy, and take steady steps to promote supply-side structural reform and ensure steady and sound development of the economy and the society. This endeavor will inject strong impetus to the Belt and Road Initiative. In the next 5 years, China will import $8 trillion of goods, attract $600 billion of foreign investment, and make $750 billion of overseas visits, and make 700 million overseas visits. We welcome all countries to share the great opportunities presented by China's development. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, if we concentrate our mind, we are able to move the Taishan Mountain. The Belt and Road Initiative will be discussed by all parties, and Belt and Road projects will be undertaken by all parties. And the benefits and fruits of this initiative will be shared by all parties. The theme of this meeting is closer international cooperation, joint contribution to Belt and Road Initiative for common development. Exchanges and discussions will be conducted under this theme. Leaders and heads of international organizations present here today are policymakers with important influence. We also have with us representatives of governments, business leaders, and scholars. We look forward to a full and lively exchange of views so that we can pool our wisdom and explore the pathway to world economic growth and international cooperation, so that we can offer more intellectual wisdom to the Belt and Road Initiative and the community of shared future for mankind. To conclude, I wish this meeting a great success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Premier Zhang. In his speech, Vice Premier Zhang Gaoli elaborated on the contents of policy connectivity, infrastructure connectivity, financial connectivity, trade connectivity, and people-to-people connectivity. He stressed the importance of the five connectivities to the building of the Belt and Road, identified the key priorities of international cooperation on Belt and Road, and offered important guidance for this initiative. Next, we invite leaders of participating countries and international organizations to speak. Chile is an important country in Latin America. It is also an important partner for the building of the 21st century maritime Silk Road. Chile has played a positive role in promoting connectivity between the Asia-Pacific and Latin America. I now invite President of Chile, Bachelet, to speak.
Distinguished head of states, head of governments, distinguished head of international organizations, representatives of countries, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. I want to thank the Chinese government and President Xi Jinping for inviting Chile to participate in this important meeting of the International Forum, One Belt, One Road. It is a privilege to share some remarks at this high-level dialogue on behalf of my country and of all Latin America. At a time where there is growing skepticism about the benefits of economic openness, this forum is an opportunity to look beyond current circumstances and work together towards lasting development. According to international organizations, the global economy will continue to grow slowly, with low productivity and increasing inequality, which could pressure governments to adopt restrictive economic policies. There is a growing disaffection with globalization and a more widespread protectionism. To this, we must respond on the international and national level, developing policies like the Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development or national policies that will let no one behind. But also we need to respond by reasserting our commitment to moving forward, not backwards. Fortunately, in areas like infrastructure, connectivity, and sustainable development, there are clear openings for more cooperation at the regional and global levels. We see the One Belt, One Road initiative as key in this process, as it promotes regional trade agreements and improves connectivity in Asian countries, in Europe, Africa, but also in Latin America. Chile welcomes the great effort led by China to search for new mechanisms to bring us closer together in connectivity, innovation, and sustainable development. The breadth of One Belt, One Road, the high level of participation, and its strategic dimensions highlights its capacity to become the biggest economic cooperation project in place today. And our region understands the need to be part of this major endeavor. In the last decade, Asia and Latin America have become more and more interlinked. In the case of Chile, half of our exports go to Asia and 1/4 to China. Chile must be the front runner in this regard, but by no means is the only one. The situation of other Latin American countries is not very different. The development of the Asia-Pacific region is fundamental to our own development as a region. Even more, the Central Asian countries are potential markets for our agricultural products as well as a source of energy resources. The OBOR initiative provides everyone with the tools to take advantage of these opportunities for common prosperity. Our presence here today signals our support for this initiative, reaffirming our friendship and cooperation ties. We are betting on the future, joining in an effort that will lead in the medium and long term toward new options for joint work favoring development for all. Chile is a strong promoter of integration. We have championed the idea of convergence in diversity, looking for common interests rather than differences, particularly in the economic area for mutual benefit. In that context, the Pacific Alliance, that is Chile, Colombia, Mexico, and Peru, is developing joint trade initiatives with Mercosur, the other relevant South America trading bloc. To strengthen our relation with Asia, we have undertaken concrete actions. For example, last March, we hosted the high-level dialogue on integration initiatives in the Asia-Pacific region. Ministers and high-level representatives from the Pacific Rim countries exchanged views regarding the future of international trade and how to foster regional integration through different modalities, including the Pacific Alliance, the Regional Cooperation Economic Partnership, RCEP, and the Free Trade Area of Asia-Pacific, FTAP. One of the main results of this dialogue was a clear political message regarding a common commitment to open trade and integration. Another achievement was the agreement among the Pacific Alliance countries to launch expeditious negotiations with Asia-Pacific countries for high-standard trade agreements. During our time as pro-tempore chair of the alliance, Chile has strongly pushed for a closer relation to the Asia-Pacific region. And one result was the adoption last September of a cooperation framework between the Pacific Alliance and ASEAN. Hence, the building blocks are in place to transform the Pacific Alliance into a powerful platform for integration in the Pacific Rim. In regard to infrastructure, Chile has been working to make integration a reality. We have advanced together with Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay to implement a bioceanic corridor between Puerto Murtinho in Brazil and ports of north of Chile that will connect the Atlantic with the Pacific Ocean in a faster way. We're also working with Argentina on 3 priority infrastructure projects that will better connect us. Initiatives like this are backed by the political will of our countries. They require at the same time strong investment and could be an integral part of the One Belt, One Road initiative. There is also a need to broaden our infrastructure and build ports, airports, pipelines, and digital bridges, as well as to collaborate in the areas of energy, finance, science and technology, and RM+D. We know that our participation in the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank will also contribute to accomplish this task. We believe that the AIIB will find excellent partners in our region, such as the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, or the Development Bank for Latin America, CAF, entities that today finance many infrastructure projects. We are convinced that this is the right time to seek new horizons that will allow us to strengthen the role of our countries in global value chains, a central part of the world economy in the next decade. Dear friends, just as the Silk Road has become the One Belt, One Road initiative, 500 years ago, Hernando de Magallanes connected Europe to Asia through the Magallanes Strait in the southern part of my country. Today, the digital era has shortened distances. Chile expects to be a protagonist of the new road across the Pacific Ocean, that one that will go beyond the traditional land, maritime, and air routes. Chile is ready to be a bridge country between Asia and Latin America. We consider One Belt, One Road as the path to shorten distances and build a modern connectivity, which will be a contribution to productive processes, national growth, opening of new markets, fostering of investment, increased tourism, and deepening of mutual understanding that will pave the way to more inclusive, equal, just, prosper, and peaceful society with development for all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, President Bachelet. Czech Republic is an important partner for cooperation for China in Europe, playing an important role in both regional and multilateral cooperation. China and Czech have deepened cooperation on development strategy, development plan, cooperation mechanism, and the link-up of major projects within the Belt and Road framework. And our bilateral cooperation has provided a good example for Belt and Road cooperation. I now invite President Zeman of Czech to speak.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, One Road, One Belt is a fascinating project, the most fascinating project in all our modern history. If you compare the expected expenditures for this project, for instance, with expenditures in the case of Marshall Plan, it is 12 times more. I repeat, 12 times more. If this project is to be successful, it is necessary risk assessment and not only optimistic opportunity analysis. And we must do everything in order to avoid the disaster, because, as you know, disaster is a very frequent phenomenon in human history, unfortunately. So, evaluating this project, there might be different points of view. One of them is strictly technological one. Yes, I agree that railways may shorten the time for transport approximately for 1/3. A may reduce the costs of the transport. That's fine. But this is not enough. The belt might be a firm combination or contact of two old human civilizations. And if I read Samuel Huntington about the conflict of civilization, in this case, this might be the real friendship of both old civilization. We may expect the generation of new enterprises, even new towns. But we must solve some problems, for instance, financing of this project, where the combination of public and private partnership will be visibly necessary. But let me tackle one aspect which is usually underestimated. The psychological, or if you wish, politological aspect of this project, One Road, One Belt. You know that it is true that if we are to fight against the darkest, you must fire at least one candle. And in this case, we need many candles. Let me inform you that Czech Republic approved on this forum 22 relatively small projects in the frame of One Road, of One Belt. These are our candles for the support of this project. And the next 16 candles will be prepared in the Czech-Chinese Investment Forum in July. But overwhelming majority of politicians is captured in the limit of short-term decision. The decision which has the consequences inside the limit of function period or election period of the given politician. It is very easy, it is very comfortable, because there is no risk that your successor will eat the cream of your activity and that he will open the successful story of long-term investment. And because in modern history, except from Marshall Plan, there was practically no long-term project which needs enormous courage. Let me express my gratitude for People's Republic of China for this courage, and especially let me appreciate Chinese President for the courage which is so rare in world politics, unfortunately. Once more, my sincerest congratulations for the courage. Thank you.
Thank you, President Zeman. Ethiopia is an important regional cooperation partner for China in Africa. It is committed to elevating the level of external cooperation within the Belt and Road framework and advancing infrastructure connectivity in the region, including railway. Ethiopia plays an important role in Africa's development. I now invite Prime Minister Haile Mariam of Ethiopia to speak.
Your Excellency, Vice Premier of the People's Republic of China, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a great honor and a privilege for me personally and for my country to be part of this unique and historic forum. I would therefore like to extend my sincere gratitude to the government of the People's Republic of China for inviting us to this momentous occasion. I also would like to seize this opportunity to commend the government of the People's Republic of China, particularly His Excellency President Xi Jinping, for his extraordinary vision, unwavering commitment, and relentless effort to enhance international cooperation for shared prosperity across the world. As the largest developing country with a robust and second largest global economy, China continues playing a critical role in global development and remains a key for growth and prosperity across the developing world. Many of us in the developing world, especially we in Africa, continue to view China as a successful economic model and a reliable ally in the fight against poverty and in our quest for prosperity. China has continued to deliver on its commitment as an emerging global power by taking the lead in global cooperation initiatives such as the Belt and Road Cooperation Initiative. Certainly, the Belt and Road Initiative is the largest and non-conflicting economic cooperation of the 21st century, unique in its vision and setting, helping to leveraging from Chinese rapid economic growth and its best practices. Indeed, it is most timely and what our world calls for. Our rapidly globalizing world with an increasing uncertain global economic demands and an enhanced global partnership that delivers win-win cooperation for all of us. Excellencies, we need to see no further than China and its achievements over the past few decades to appreciate the advantage of an open approach to economic growth and prosperity. China has been and continues to be a stellar example of the reward of an open approach to economic growth. It has lifted hundreds of millions of its people out of poverty and continues to witness robust economic growth despite times of turbulent global economy. Though the Belt and Road Initiative, China is calling on all of us to adopt and tackle and take advantage of the open and win-win approach to economic cooperation. It is really rewarding to be part of this vision. The Belt and Road Cooperation Initiative brings a unique opportunity for enhanced regional cooperation, sustainable economic growth, and achievement of our global commitments for our 2030 agenda. It opens doors for emerging and developing countries to tap into their potential in trade and investment to contribute to the global development. The cooperation initiative may be drawn around connectivity of 3 continents, Asia, Europe, and Africa, but yet it is no doubt that it will have significant growth and development impact across the world. Excellencies, in Africa, we are eager to build on our 2 decades of successful relationship with China to continue to contribute the success of the Belt and Road Initiative. We know too well the challenge of infrastructure deficiency and the benefits of regional interconnectivity for unimpeded trade and investment, agricultural modernization, industrialization, and global prosperity. Belt and Road Initiative is inherently aligned to Africa's vision for integration, industrialization, and sustainable development, including the African Union Agenda 2063 and its first 10 years plan. Africa's industrialization, strengthening infrastructure connectivity, and achieving sustainable development is our priority. Through its engagement with Africa over the past 2 decades, China continues playing a crucial role in promoting interconnectivity within the continent and between China and Africa. BRI will even further strengthen this engagement by enhancing Africa's cooperation with countries along the corridor. With its abundant and untapped human and natural resources, Africa has so much to offer to the world. Through the Sino-Africa cooperation, trade, and investment, this untapped potential can and must be geared towards Africa's integration to global value chains. BRI's ambitions promises to connect the 3 continents, and we are confident that with its implementation, Africa will realize its potential as an important player in global economic arena. Excellencies, As one of the world's fastest growing economies and the political capital of Africa, Ethiopia views itself as a genuine partner who plays a critical role to further Sino-African engagements. Indeed, Ethio-China successful industrial production capacity cooperation, coupled with the infrastructure development initiatives between the two nations, set a precedent for Sino-Africa cooperation. In 2015, Ethiopia emerged as one of the pilot countries for Sino-Africa production capacity cooperation. China's effort to lead the way for Africa's integration is also reflected in its continuing role to link Ethiopia with its neighbors in the Horn of Africa and Eastern, and through the development of the transportation and energy infrastructure. One of the most notable projects along this line is the launch of the Ethio-Djibouti fully electrified cross-border rail line, which is the first of its kind in Africa. Besides, choosing the African political capital Addis Ababa as a hub for cross-border and transcontinental submarine optical fiber broadband connectivity is one of the best examples. Our aviation cooperation, where Ethiopian Airlines is connecting more than 80% of travelers from Africa to China, is another best example. Today, Ethiopia is moving in full gear to take the numerous opportunities the Belt and Road Initiative has provided to our country, continent, and the world. Excellencies, I hope you will fully concur with me if I state that the Belt and Road Initiative is indeed the greatest opportunities for our shared prosperity in this era. China has taken the leadership in laying the foundations for the realization of our shared vision for an open, fair, and prosperous world. The achievement of this vision will require our political commitment and huge sum of resources from all of us. I am confident that we will continue to further our collaboration and coordinate our efforts in the realization of the promise of the Belt and Road Initiative for an inclusive and shared global prosperity. In closing, I would like to reiterate my government's determination and full commitment to deliver on our responsibilities for the realization of this grand and strategic vision. I thank you for your kind attention.
I want to thank Prime Minister Hailemariam of Ethiopia. Greece is an important partner for cooperation on the Belt and Road Initiative. And under the Belt and Road Framework, there has been active cooperation between China and Greece about infrastructure, trade, and people-to-people exchange. These have made important contribution to Eurasian connectivity. Our next speaker is Prime Minister Tsipras of Greece.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished heads of states and governments, it's a great honor for me to address today the high-level forum for the One Belt, One Road project. A far-reaching 21st century initiative building on the wisdom of the ancient Chinese concept of the Silk Road. So I want to congratulate China and personally President Xi for his vision and for his warm hospitality in hosting this forum. And I want to underline the great importance that such a vision has, especially in our times. at times when all were facing increasing global and regional challenges in the economic and financial system, in human mobility and migration, in security and regional stability. In these times, when the temptation is great to respond to the crisis of globalization by increasing isolation and by raising walls, this initiative highlights a vision of connectivity, cooperation and dialogue across Europe and Asia, but also other parts of the world. In this context, we believe that it is becoming a crucial vehicle for expanding economic growth, trade and investment. It is crucial for maximizing investment synergies and promoting trade, transport, energy and telecommunication networks through projects that can have a big impact on national economies. On this basis, we will actively support that the initiative pays due attention to strengthening scientific and technological innovation, as well as integrating small and medium-sized enterprises in global value chains. Furthermore, we are convinced that coordination with other regional frameworks such as ASEAN, the EU-China Connectivity Platform, or China-Europe Land-Sea Express route, will add value to the initiative. Of course, while always promoting a rules-based, transparent and inclusive international trading system with World Trade Organization at its core. What is particularly positive for us is that the goals of the Belt and Road Initiative are compatible with our own regional economic goals, and our dynamic, comprehensive strategic partnership with China sets a solid basis for working in this direction. Greece, after many years of severe crisis, is returning to a growth path which opens up remarkable opportunities for investments and trade. My country is once again taking full advantage of its unique geopolitical identity as a country of Europe, a country of Mediterranean, a country of Balkans and the broader Black Sea region, but also as a maritime country with potential for advancing relations far beyond its neighborhood. In this framework, Greece is expanding its role as an important regional hub in the fields of trade, transport, energy, telecommunications, logistics, culture and tourism. The Greek people have lived at the crossroads of 3 continents for thousands of years, trading, working and migrating all over the world. As a country with a rich cultural heritage and a world leader in the tourist industry, we highly value the importance of this initiative for people-to-people contacts, cultural exchanges and tourism. This year is the Greek-Chinese Cultural Exchange Year. A few weeks ago, we cooperated closely on setting up the first ministerial conference of the Ancient Civilizations Forum, while in the field of tourism, direct flights between Greece and China will be starting very soon. As a leading maritime country, looking for new trade routes, we see the great opportunities in the 21st century maritime Silk Road. An increasing number of Greek ship owners built their ships in China, while our biggest port, the port of Piraeus, where a very important investment by COSTCO has been made, is becoming a global getaway to Europe for products coming from Chinese and other Asian ports, including through the Suez Canal. From Piraeus port, the merchandise can easily be transported by rail to many destinations in the Balkans and in Central Europe. In this spirit, 2015 was the Greek-Chinese Maritime Year. China will be the main guest country in this year in Thessaloniki Trade Festival, while we're working hard on new regional infrastructure projects. Finally, on a diplomatic level, we consider that this multilateral forum sets the ground for important new initiatives. Greece is in any case actively promoting ambitious diplomatic initiatives for cooperation and dialogue on the basis of international law with all the countries of our broader region. And we see important potential for establishing triangular relations around infrastructure projects in the Balkans, but also in the Eastern Mediterranean area. In this framework, I would like to once again thank you for today's very important forum and underline the importance that Greece attaches to the development of the Belt and Road Initiative. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prime Minister Tsipras. Pakistan is an important partner for cooperation on the Belt and Road. China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is an important part in the development of the Belt and Road. Pakistan and all related parties have conducted extensive and concrete cooperation about ports, railway, energy, industry and trade under the Belt and Road framework. There have been a number of early harvest projects delivering benefit to local communities. Our next speaker is Prime Minister Sharif of Pakistan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Excellency Mr. Zhang Gaoli, distinguished world leaders, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to congratulate China for hosting this spectacular Belt and Road Forum for international cooperation and for choosing a very apt theme for this summit, Cooperation for Common Prosperity. This is a historic event. It will build critical pathways in the years to come for economic and financial cooperation, business-to-business collaboration, and people-to-people contacts. I am here today to celebrate the remarkable success of the seminal initiative of the One Belt, One Road, shoulder to shoulder with our close friend and trusted ally, China,
and the other world leaders present here. Ladies and gentlemen, I pay to President Xi and the Chinese leadership my deepest tributes for their dynamic and creative leadership. We admire and commend China's vision and ingenuity in developing corridors across regions, in building supportive financial institutions such as the Silk Road Fund and the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and above all, in launching China Railway Express trains that construct a new bridge on the Eurasian landmass. Ladies and gentlemen, One Belt, One Road is an intercontinental mega project that integrates infrastructure, energy, trade, telecommunications, investment, and industrial development. Such a broad sweep and scale of interlocking economic partnerships and investments is unprecedented in history. We stand at the cusp of a geo-economic revolution. In fact, this is the dawn of a truly new era of synergetic intercontinental cooperation. OBOR embraces 3 continents: Asia, Africa, and Europe. It covers half the world's population, half of its resources, and 65 countries. International investors from all over are pouring their resources into it. It makes win-win partnerships possible for all. It will accelerate economic growth in developing countries, yield dividends for international investors, and tear down barriers to trade and commerce. Even more importantly, it will help prepare and reform global economic governance. We do not see OBOR merely as a modern revival of the ancient Silk Road. Rather, we view it as a conscious and humanistic endeavor to take humankind to a higher level of prosperity, peace and stability through connectivity and close contact. Ladies and gentlemen, peace and development go hand in hand, and nothing can pave the path for peace and security more than economic development achieved through regional collaboration. OBOR signifies that geoeconomics must take precedence over geopolitics, and that the center of gravity should shift from conflict to cooperation. As OBOR unfolds across continents, we see it fostering inclusion, creating tolerance, and promoting acceptance of cultural diversity. We see it as a powerful tool for overcoming terrorism and extremism. Pakistan believes that the most powerful impact of OBOR will be on the lives of poor and marginalized people who would have higher incomes, better education, and more health facilities. It would help in eradicating poverty and achieving sustainable development, leaving no one behind. Ladies and gentlemen, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is a core project of OBOR. In fact, it has been rightly called its flagship because it aims to connect the neighborhoods of East and West Asia. CPEC makes Pakistan both a conduit and destination for cross-regional investment and trade. Let me make it very clear that China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is an economic undertaking open to all countries in the region. It has no geographical boundaries. In implementing this corridor, we are not striving to merely leverage geography for economic prosperity. We are also trying to build a peaceful, connected, and caring neighborhood. It is time we transcend our differences, resolve conflicts through dialogue and diplomacy, and leave a legacy of peace for future generations. It is with this sense of pride, ladies and gentlemen, that I avail this opportunity to inform this forum that our infrastructure, energy, and industrial projects are moving just as envisaged. Many will be completed by or even before their timelines. Unprecedented economic, social, and cultural benefits will accrue from the China-Pakistan economic corridor, not just for the people of Pakistan, but also for the people of the entire region. Through a resolute will and sound planning, as well as the steadfast support of our Chinese friends, we have shaped an enabling environment for the China-Pakistan economic corridor to take off. It is producing new entrepreneurs, creating new jobs and businesses, and attracting international investment. The CPEC is a project owned and nurtured by all citizens of Pakistan. It is also fully compatible with our own Vision 2025, which invests our resources in multiple corridors of region cooperation, including energy, industry, trade, and transportation. In pursuance of this vision, we are also bridging the gap between economic growth and social development by focusing on poverty alleviation, education, health, and gender mainstreaming. We will tap the full potential of our youth, who constitute more than 60% of our population. Before I conclude, I must emphasize that OBOR has gained wide traction. It negates the logic of polarization and rejects the encirclement of any country. It is about connectivity. It is about emancipation. It moves us out of silos into shared peace space. The fact is that now OBOR belongs to all of us, those who are participating in it and those who are not as yet. OBOR has truly become a global commons. Let us sustain it with full vigor and robust political will. Let OBOR become a metaphor for a new, mature, resilient, and cooperative world. We all must keep alive the spirit of one belt, one road. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all.
Prime Minister Sharif, thank you very much for your speech. The ancient Silk Road connected China and the UK that were geographically apart. And today, the Belt and Road Initiative is giving new substance to the Silk Road, ancient Silk Road. The China-European cargo train is now operating between China and the UK, putting in place a logistic pathway from East Asia to the westernmost tip of Europe, benefiting the people of both China, the UK, and relevant countries. Now I give the floor to the Special Envoy of the British Prime Minister, Chancellor of the Exchequer, Philip Hammond.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honour for my country to take part in this forum, and it's an honour for me to speak to you today. I commend President Xi for his excellent speech this morning and for setting in train such a bold and visionary project. This initiative is truly groundbreaking in the scale of its ambition. Spanning more than 65 countries across 4 continents, with the potential to raise the living standards of 70% of the global population. China's ability to drive phenomenal economic development is well proven. Since 1980, the Chinese economy has grown by over 2,500%. This year, it is expected to account for a quarter of total global economic growth. Indeed, global trade, of course, the reason that economic growth matters is because of how it transforms people's lives. 800 million Chinese citizens have been lifted out of poverty in the last 40 years. Trade has played a vital role in China's growth. Indeed, global trade has underpinned much of the increase in prosperity that we have seen globally. We have to acknowledge, however, that rapid economic change has been unsettling for many of our citizens. And as leaders, we have to respond to these concerns by continuing to seek new opportunities to expand trade, but at the same time by ensuring that all our citizens are reaping the benefits that trade brings. And the Belt and Road Initiative provides us with a great opportunity to put these words, these thoughts, into action. As President Xi has said, the initiative must follow the principle of wide consultation, joint contribution, and shared benefit. I agree that those principles will make this initiative sustainable. And it is my belief that Britain, lying at the western end of the Belt and Road, is a natural partner in this endeavour. Britain has for centuries been one of the strongest advocates of an open global trading system. And as we embark on a new chapter in our history, as we leave the European Union, we want to maintain a close and open trading partnership with our European neighbours, and at the same time pursue our ambition to secure free trade agreements around the world with new partners and old allies alike. Our ambition is for more trade, not less trade, and China clearly shares this ambition. I strongly support President Xi's ambition to have mutually beneficial free trade agreements in place with 40% of Belt and Road countries by the end of this year. Central to the whole project, of course, is the need to address infrastructure challenges along the Belt and Road. Asia's infrastructure needs alone are estimated at $26 trillion out to 2030. China has already pledged $4 trillion of investment in Belt and Road countries through this initiative. But the scale of infrastructure investment required cannot be met by public financing alone. And the UK, I believe, can be a natural partner in delivering this infrastructure by supporting the finance, the design, and the delivery needed to make the vision a reality. China and the UK have a long and rich trading history. Indeed, the English first attempted to find a trade route to China in the 16th century, although it took us 4 decades to find one. I welcome the Belt and Road Initiative as an opportunity to strengthen these ties, and I welcome the progress that has already been made. In January, for the first time, a freight train carried goods from Yiwu on the East China Sea along a 7,500-mile journey to East London. It passed through 7 countries, hauling 34 containers of Chinese goods during its historic 15-day voyage. And last week, it returned through Europe and Central Asia to China with containers full of British goods. Just one example of the opportunities that the Belt and Road Initiative is bringing. One example from the 900 projects that are already underway, representing almost $1 trillion of investment. So my message today is simple. As China drives forward the Belt and Road Initiative from the east, we in Britain are a natural partner in the West, standing ready to work with all Belt and Road partner countries to make a success of this initiative, delivering the jobs, the growth, and the higher living standards that must be our central ambition for all of our citizens. Thank you.
I want to thank Mr. Hammond for that speech. France has close relationship with the ancient Silk Road. France is an active advocate for open, innovative development. China and France in the areas of education, science, technology, culture, and trade enjoy broad and deep cooperation. And in terms of cooperation in third market, China and France enjoy high complementarity. I now invite representative of the President of France, Chairman of the Diplomacy, Defense and Armed Forces Committee of the French Senate, former Premier of France, Mr. Raffran, to take the floor.
Ni hao.
Good morning.
Monsieur le Vice-Premier, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs d'État, de gouvernement, Mesdames et Messieurs les ministres, chers amis, le nouveau président de la République
Vice Premier of the People's Republic of China, ladies and gentlemen, heads of state and government, the new president of France has asked me to be his special representative today so that we can express together wishes of success, not only for this forum, but for all the different projects that are part of this new Silk Road. The new French president, young French president, is just as you very much attached to these two notions which have guaranteed success in China. Here I'm talking about reform and opening. It's already been 4 years since the launch of this ambitious initiative that was launched by the President Xi Jinping that seeks to bring new life to the Silk Roads, creating new routes and providing for a boost in trade, to be sure, but also benefiting other sectors such as tourism, finance, and culture. Similar to brushstrokes on silk, a fabric whose secret mastery was held by China for centuries, different facets of this initiative are slowly coming to light. Stroke by stroke, a complex and ambitious design is being unveiled. This forum marks a new and decisive step in the progress of this initiative. France, as the President Xi Jinping said, also feels that globalization and multilateralism are good things. Globalization is a force that needs to be encouraged and sustained, while at the same time mitigating its negative effects in order to broaden its benefits for all countries and nations. I'm honored to be the representative of France today and to be able to underline the interest in promoting greater connectivity between Europe and China. The Chinese One Belt, One Road policy, hence, must create new opportunities. To remedy the lack of infrastructure in Asia will require the efforts of all those of goodwill ready to contribute to the region's prosperity and that of the rest of the world. And at the same time, we see the emergence of Eurasia on a geopolitical plane, Eurasia, which is connected also to Euro-Africa, and France would like to work with China and all the other partners to the success of these projects that will strengthen the links and bring about prosperity all along the old Silk Roads. The sustainability of these projects will be crucial. Environmental sustainability first. And on that score, France would like to commend China for its important role in concluding the Paris Accords and for its ongoing efforts to ensure the irreversibility of these agreements. As the President said this morning, the notion of win-win has to be at the core of these multiple initiatives. In September 2016, during the Hangzhou summit, the G20 leaders underscored the importance of principles of equity and fairness in international relations in order to reduce worldwide imbalances. They also noted the useful role of the World Trade Organization. The Chinese initiative, I believe, is in line with these virtuous objectives. Today, the world follows all the different new opportunities that are open. And we know that there are many different possibilities. Most new firms and companies, whatever their national origins, would like to take part of that. And they measure the frame of these projects. But they need to be convinced that these projects will be open to them, both in China and beyond, following the same principles of equity, sustainability, and reciprocity. Hence, the notion of reciprocity will be at a prime for all these enterprises. So these are these notions, these principles that have been confirmed over time in numerous international fora. And we hope that this present form can add its own weight, because this initiative is a shared development project. It is also a major initiative conducive to peace and development. So I would like to express my thanks to the Chinese people who are telling the world, such a dangerous world, too dangerous I might add, that in order to fight against all the disorder in the world, in order to promote peace, you have to build projects, build development projects, and I hope that the Silk Roads can really be built and in such a way guarantee peace in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Raffaran. Germany has an advantage in industrial manufacturing. Countries along the Belt and Road are at an important stage of industrialization. Germany's participation in the pursuit of the Belt and Road Initiative will help promote accelerated industrialization in countries along the route and present new opportunities for Germany and related countries. I now invite Madame Tsipris, Minister of Economy and Energy, and also representative of the federal government and Chancellor of Germany to speak.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you to the Chinese government for the invitation and for the opportunity to speak at this high-level conference. China's Belt and Road Initiative aims to improve infrastructure between Asia and Europe, and this will bring the world's two largest trading bodies, Asia and Europe, even closer. Better infrastructure will promote trade and investment. Germany seeks strong trade and investment links with all our Asian partners. And many of you here today share our vision of deeper economic ties, which can only come to full success under the rule of law and equal trade of all human. Asia and Europe have a common interest in globalization and free trade. Any trend towards closing national markets is setting up new barriers to trade, is dangerous, and puts global growth at risk. This is why we all should be committed to an open and multilateral trading system. Protectionism must be tackled. Germany wants to deepen its ties with Asia based on true partnership, mutual benefit, and a level playing field. Our cooperation needs to be built on trust and on an open, transparent, and inclusive dialogue with all partners. Connectivity needs to be based on networks, not on one-way streets or one center. It requires a multilateral approach, not just single projects. Joint infrastructure planning is an established practice at the EU. The European-Chinese connectivity platform builds on the lessons we have learned in this process. It aims to realize synergies in infrastructure by ensuring a rule-based and transparent planning process. We need also to involve the private sector on the basis of fair and transparent competition. This will be crucial for their success and for the project's ability to deliver benefits. For this, we must ensure a transparent procurement process and adherence to international standards, such as the OECD consensus on export financing. We also need to ensure market-oriented finance. The best foundation for deepening economic ties and raising growth is to open up the markets even further. As a project of regional economic integration, the European Union stands for open markets, both among its members and with our non-EU partners. We welcome recent signals by the Chinese leadership for free trade and open markets. As close partners, we now encourage China to deliver reforms and market opening. Open economies in all countries will deepen economic integration and will help to find peace and good development for all the people in the world.
Thank you, Madame Tsipras. The Belt and Road Initiative is consistent with the purposes of the UN Charter. It provides impetus for the realization of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Lately, the UN General Assembly and the Security Council have both adopted resolutions in support of the Belt and Road Initiative, calling on parties to provide safety guarantee and environment for the building of the Belt and Road to the benefit of people around the world. I now give the floor to Mr. Peter Thompson, President of the 71st UN General Assembly.
Your Excellencies, all courtesies observed, good morning everyone. It's an immense pleasure to be here in Beijing at the Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation. Excellencies, the vast achievements of China's economic revitalization over the last 30 years, by now well documented, of the lifting of many hundreds of millions of people from poverty in that short period, bears repeating over and over again. The achievement was a major factor in ensuring that the international community largely achieved the UN Millennium Development Goals in 2015, and it demonstrates to us all that rapid transformational change is indeed possible. I have no doubt the Belt and Road Initiative will bring enormous benefits to all involved in it. I also believe this initiative will serve as a major driver of the global transformation demanded by the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. Taken together with the Paris Agreement on climate change, the 2030 Agenda constitutes a universal roadmap for humanity's survival on this planet. The 2030 Agenda is our guide to ending global poverty, to achieving gender equality, and overcoming environmental degradation. It provides the impetus for delivering a shared prosperity and access to the basic services for all. It is the bedrock on which we will build peaceful, inclusive, and just societies. Implementation of this roadmap will require the development of global partnerships, such as those envisaged in the Belt and Road Initiative. Support from both public and private sector investment will be required for sustainable development of sustainable infrastructure. And here we take heart from the outcomes of the G20 summit in Hangzhou on the greening of the global financial system. The exponential innovation underway in communications and technology will be central to the implementation of the 2030 Agenda, assisting many developing countries to leapfrog towards prosperity for their people. But all of these advances in favor of humanity's sustainable future will not be possible if we do not stay true to the course set for us by the 2030 Agenda and the Paris Climate Agreement. Fidelity to these universal agreements is the central imperative of our times. In this regard, President Xi's speech in Geneva last January lit a beacon of hope for us all, building a sharing global community, a win-win development and trading environment in a world of flourishing multilateralism with the United Nations at its core. This is a vision for an equitable future to which all can subscribe. Excellencies, the Belt and Road Initiative will boost many of the Sustainable Development Goals through economic growth, employment, poverty reduction, and the expansion of trade and investment among the countries along the Belt and Road. And we have every hope it will create the conditions for sustaining peace and preventing violent extremism. This is vital to our shared future, for the United Nations has reached a clear conclusion that there can be no sustainable peace without sustainable development, and that there can be no sustainable development without sustainable peace. Excellencies, as a Fijian and in the presence of the Prime Minister of Fiji, Prime Minister Bainimarama, I bring your attention to the urgent need for progress in the implementation of the Paris Climate Agreement. I call on all to support the untiring efforts of the Prime Minister as he prepares to assume his duties as President of COP23 in Bonn in this November. Excellencies, from 5 to 9 June in New York, together with the Deputy Prime Minister of Sweden, Prime Minister Bainimarama will co-preside over the Ocean Conference. In support of the noble aims of SDG 14, the conference sets out to reverse the cycle of decline in which the ocean is currently caught. SDG 14 is humanity's only universal commitment to righting the woes we have brought upon the ocean. For those who have yet to make a voluntary commitment on the Ocean Conference website, now is the time to stand and be counted amongst those who are committed to conserving and sustainably managing the ocean's resources. Excellencies, an old Chinese saying tells us that the flames rise high when everybody adds wood. Seen in this light, the Belt and Road Initiative is a massive driving force towards the achievement of these Sustainable Development Goals. The initiative's inclusive, integrated, and transformational vision is in complete synergy with the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and its can-do spirit is an inspiration to us all. I thank our hosts once again, and I wish you all a successful forum. Thank you.
Thank you, President Thompson of the UNGA. The World Bank is an international development financial institution. It has provided strong support to global infrastructure development and poverty reduction. It is dedicated to implementing the Global Infrastructure Connectivity Alliance initiative. It is also in cooperation with other development financial institutions in providing financing support to regional integration, especially major infrastructure programs. Our next speaker is President Kim Yong of World Bank.
Well,
thank you very much. It's my real pleasure to be here in the beautiful city of Beijing.
Especially Vice Premier Zhang Gaoli. 3 years ago, at the APEC meetings, President Xi Jinping said, Asian countries are just like a cluster of bright lanterns. Only when we link them together can we light up the night sky in our continent. As someone who was born on this continent across the way in Seoul, South Korea, I'm especially inspired by the Belt and Road Initiative, and I'm here to say that the World Bank Group very proudly supports the government of China's ambitious, unprecedented effort to light up the night sky. The Belt and Road Initiative will improve trade, infrastructure, investment, and people-to-people connectivity, not just across borders, but on a transcontinental scale. Building on ancient trade routes, there were commercial highways during the Mongol Empire and sea routes that Admiral Zheng He sailed to Africa and the Middle East in the 15th century. The Belt and Road will link China with more than 65 countries that collectively represent 62% of the global population and 30% of global GDP. The Belt and Road Initiative has the potential to lower trade costs, increase competitiveness, improve infrastructure, and provide greater connectivity for Asia and its neighboring regions. But realizing the promise of the initiative will require appropriate policies, institutions, and services such as effective governance, which will be critical to ensuring development impact, careful attention to conditions at the border, like customs procedures, and regulations beyond the border, like non-tariff measures. Access to ancillary services for efficient supply chains like transportation, financing, insurance, and telecommunications. The markets for these services are uneven across the Belt and Road countries, so reforms like national regulatory policies will be needed. We at the World Bank Group are dedicated to the development of countries along the Belt and Road. We have ongoing commitments of $86.8 billion in infrastructure, trade, power, and connectivity projects in the countries. In transportation alone, we have commitments of $24 billion. We're financing projects like Afghanistan's Trans-Hindu Kush Road connectivity, Kazakhstan's east-west roads, Pakistan's Karachi ports, and Uzbekistan's Pap-Angren Railway that are already reinforcing connections along the Belt and Road. IFC, our private sector arm, is partnering with the Silk Road Fund and China's Three Gorges Company to help to develop hydropower in Pakistan. And we're working with China's Exim Bank, CIC, and others to develop infrastructure. We also support an estimated $12.9 billion in trade through global short-term finance programs. MIGA, our insurance arm that specializes in political risk insurance and credit enhancement, has provided $1 billion of guarantees, which has facilitated an additional $1.8 billion in investment along the Belt and Road. But to ensure success, we need to remember that because of the sheer size of the initiative, estimated investments will need to be large. Second, individual countries are at different stages of development with varying capabilities, constraints, and risk profiles. They will need support mechanisms to define and meet consistent, satisfactory standards. Third, the benefits of the Belt and Road Initiative are broader than one project or one country. Projects will thus require innovative financing mechanisms, a mix of public and concessional finance, as well as commercial capital. Finally, our decades of experience with large infrastructure projects suggest that project preparation and appropriate risk allocation will be critical for success. We're ready to work on all these issues, and this afternoon, at the invitation of China's Ministry of Finance, we're going to sign a memorandum of understanding among many multilateral development banks to support the Belt and Road Initiative. President Xi this morning talked a lot about win-win situations, and probably the most exciting win-win situation in the world today is the fact that there are over $40 trillion in the world, $40 trillion of capital, earning 1% or less. $8.5 trillion in the world are invested in negative interest rate bonds. We feel that crowding in that capital offers an enormous opportunity, and investing in countries along the Belt and Road will be one of the best ways of bringing that capital into the development world. We're very proud that we're already working on the Belt and Road Initiative, and with the support of China's Ministry of Finance, we're studying the economics of the Belt and Road Initiative to quantify the potential benefits, identify critical infrastructure bottlenecks, and suggest solutions for policy and regulatory constraints. We've also brought together the Global Infrastructure Facility and the Global Connectivity Alliance to provide support for project preparation, which is probably the biggest bottleneck to really reaching the great aspirations of the Belt and Road Initiative. You know, over the last 5 years, I've had a chance to travel along the Belt and Road in many of the countries that are included in this initiative. Everywhere I go, I've seen that access to technology, and especially access to the internet, has caused people to raise their aspirations. They're more likely to think about incomes in other parts of the world, and they are demanding more and more, and this is just how it should be. People should aspire for better lives for themselves and their children. For those of us in the development community, our greatest task is to raise our aspirations to meet those of the people living in the countries that are still in need of many more investment dollars for development. The Belt and Road Initiative is most remarkable for just the size of the aspiration, and I too would like to congratulate President Xi for his leadership in bringing this to us, and commit all of the resources of the World Bank Group to meeting those aspirations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, is actively dedicated to enhancing international financial and monetary cooperation. It has made important contribution to ensuring stable financial environment regionally and globally. It has made important contribution to economic growth of countries along the Belt and Road. Now may I give the floor to Managing Director Lagarde of the IMF.
Vice Premier Zhang, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Zhang Wu Hao, bonjour. I would like to commend President Xi and the Chinese authorities for their leadership in this initiative and for hosting this important summit. Thank you for having the IMF talk on the occasion of this conference. You know, when I first heard about the Road and Belt Initiative and read about it, of course, you think of silk, and I thought of silk, but I thought of tea. Why tea? Well, because it's whether you are in Beijing, whether you're in Moscow, whether you're in London, whether you're in Nairobi, or whether you are pretty much anywhere, Jakarta or Marrakesh, tea is shared, tea is necessary, tea is inclusive, and tea is an instrument of cooperation amongst the people. For centuries, tea has brought cultures, community, and people together. It has also connected economies through trade and investment. And only recently, Chinese scientists have unlocked the genetic secret of the tea plant, raising the prospect that we may soon enjoy a range of new flavors. Where am I going with tea? Well, the Belt and Road Initiative holds similar promise. It is about connecting culture, it is about connecting communities, it is about enriching economies and improving the standard of living of people. It is also about adding new economic flavors by creating infrastructure projects, both hard and soft, using the techniques of the 21st century and good governance principles. Delivering on this promise is not going to be an easy task, but doing so, if done well, could bring enormous benefits, and I would like to identify just 3 of them. First, high-quality infrastructure, if well conducted and respectful of the people and the environment, could help close the developing country infrastructure gap of about 1.5 trillion per year, lift potential global growth, and raise the income of millions of people. 2, it can provide better and greater inclusiveness. Think of the new ports, the new roads, the new railroads, the power grids that allow developing countries to better connect with global supply chains. And think of the improved roads in rural areas that can boost school enrollment, access to health services, and women's contribution to the economies. A third benefit is stronger economic cooperation conducted on an integrated basis, including providing business and environment standards and principles discussed on a multilateral basis. This would definitely help boost trade, investment and financial cooperation and make it easier to share the benefits of growth more widely. And all that is good for consumers, for productivity, which we need badly, and good for poverty reduction as well. The IMF has shown for decades that it can help in this effort by providing policy advice, financial support when it is needed, and hand-on training as well as capacity development, which, as mentioned this morning by President Xi, we will be providing in relation to the Belt and Road Initiative. Many countries today, from Cambodia to the Kyrgyz Republic to Togo, have used the IMF tools to help design and implement infrastructure investment while seeking to maintain macroeconomic stability and respecting governance principles. Today, we support more than 100 countries per year in their effort to increase government revenue, as was decided in Addis Ababa. That can be used for fresh investment. So we are very proud to serve our 189 member countries every day, and we are deeply committed to helping them maximize the benefits of more investment, more trade, financial connectivity, and people-to-people interaction under the Belt and Road Initiative. Let me come back by way of closing to my tea story. We can together create something new thanks to the initiative led by President Xi. By combining solid policy principles, good governance principles, and bringing in new economic flavors. I thank you for your attention.
I want to thank Madam Lagarde. While trade cooperation is an important part of the Belt and Road Initiative, the WTO is committed to free trade in the world in terms of maintaining international trade order, goods, trade in services, and IPR, and unimpeded trade. The WTO is playing an important role. Now I invite Director General Azevedo of the World Trade Organization to take the floor.
Vice Premier Zhang, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good day. I'm honored to be here. The One Belt, One Road is a historic endeavor, and I would like to commend President Xi for his leadership in taking it forward. This initiative is about boosting trade and connectivity, and we all know how transformative this can be. In China, for example, trade has been crucial to lifting more than 800 million people out of poverty since market reforms began just under 4 decades ago. And this is a phenomenal achievement, which was built on greater economic openness and supported by the country's accession to the WTO in 2001. Now, trade has proven to be one of the best anti-poverty and pro-development tools that we have, and for trade to continue playing its full part in powering economic transformation, the proper structures must be in place. So hard infrastructure is essential. In a recent survey, we asked the WTO members what were the biggest sources of trade costs when exporting goods and services. Lack of appropriate transport and network infrastructure were at the top of that list. One Belt, One Road projects will be hugely important in responding to this need. At the same time, we know that hard infrastructure must be supported by the necessary soft infrastructure. And this means the rules, regulations, and procedures which can expedite the flow of goods and services across borders in an open and efficient way. The global trading rules under the WTO are essential here, and we have recently delivered a major new reform to ensure that goods can flow even more easily. The WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement came into force in February this year. It is the biggest global trade deal this century. It will cut the time it takes for goods to cross borders and will therefore cut trade costs dramatically. By reducing delays, bureaucracy, and the opportunity for corruption, full implementation of the agreement could reduce trade costs globally by an average of 14.3%. And this is a bigger impact than removing every remaining import tariff around the world. The benefits will be felt most in developing countries and least developed countries,
And importantly, those countries will be able to receive the technical assistance that they need to help to implement the necessary reforms. This agreement illustrates why the multilateral trading system is so important, as it delivers these reforms on a huge scale, potentially 164 WTO countries, maximizing, therefore, opportunities for growth and development. Clearly, there are many challenges before us today, with economic growth subdued and the threat of new trade barriers. But in this context, I believe that global economic cooperation on trade issues is more important than ever. We must work harder to ensure that trade is part of the solution to the challenges that we face, and that the benefits of trade reach further and wider. And this means continuing to deliver new reforms to the global trade rules. We know that the WTO members can deliver, in addition to the trade facilitation agreement. Over the past few years, members have also struck deals to expand the information technology agreement, to abolish export subsidies in agricultural trade, and a range of other important steps. China's contribution was critical and crucial to reaching each of these agreements, and we are very thankful for that. Members are now discussing what further steps could be taken. At the end of the year, we will hold our ministerial conference in Buenos Aires, in Argentina, and that could be an important opportunity for progress. I count on China's leadership in these talks so that we can continue advancing the cause of cooperation on trade issues. In my view, this is how we will continue to improve both hard and soft infrastructure in the interests of growth and development around the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Azevedo. The World Economic Forum is an important platform for the discussion of international economic situation, and it is a strong advocate for economic globalization and a firm supporter for Belt and Road Initiative and other regional and global partnership. Now I invite Chairman Schwab of the World Economic Forum to take the floor.
Mr. Vice Premier, distinguished heads of state and government, excellencies, dear friends, I am honored to be here and to express first my admiration for the great progress which has been made in the realization of this initiative since President Xi Jinping addressed the annual meeting of the World Economic Forum in Davos just some months ago. His speech was considered to be a milestone in global history. President Xi highlighted the importance of continued and increased global cooperation as the best way to go forward and to create a peaceful, prosperous, sustainable future. This Belt Road Initiative fully embodies this initiative and serves as a shining model for regional collaboration, development and growth. The World Economic Forum is fully embracing this initiative. It takes a long-term and holistic view and makes a unique contribution to international cooperation and economic development in 5 important and very innovative ways. First, This One Belt, One Road initiative is based on the stakeholder approach. It fosters multilateral cooperation among nations and governments, but it also requires the engagement of business and other stakeholders. I believe that the best way to develop a sustainable future is the stakeholder concept on which the World Economic Forum is based. The basic principle for the success of the stakeholder concept is to find long-term solutions based on interaction and dialogue and endorsed by the commitment and willingness of all to achieve the best outcome in the shared long-term overall interest. Second, this initiative seeks to leverage market forces in new, more inclusive ways. Market-driven globalization has lifted more than 1 billion people out of poverty and has been a significant driver in improving living standards around the world. But we all recognize that poorly market-driven global economic forces create their own systemic challenges, such as a lack of inclusion and a lack of risk resilience. New models of collaborations are needed that respect our multipolar world of overlapping national, regional, and global identities as well as priorities, while striving, as President Xi put it in Davos, and I quote, to adapt and guide economic globalization, cushion its negative impact, and deliver its benefits to all countries, all nations, and all people. Number three, this initiative prepares best for fast technological change, for the fourth industrial revolution. We must be conscious that the most significant and promising but potentially disruptive context the world is facing is the fourth industrial revolution. The transformative forces brought about by the fusion of technologies that are blurring the distinctions between the digital, the physical, and the biological worlds. The fourth industrial revolution will completely alter how we produce, how we consume, how we communicate, and how we live. It will provide us with great opportunities for enhancing the lives of individuals and societies. It will allow, if we get it right, a much more human-centered approach, fostering not only on material satisfaction, but also genuine individual and societal well-being for all. That is why we will organize, also in support of this initiative, in Dalian, China next month, a global summit on innovation, entrepreneurship, science and technology under the theme Achieving Inclusive Growth in the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Fourth, this initiative is built on the open platform concept. Open platforms are one of the defining features of the digital world of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And we are seeing many new business models that are both digital and physical platforms, leveraging and sharing assets, capital, and labor in new and unique ways. China has many examples of disruptive but enormously successful platform companies. I just want to mention Alibaba, Didi, Tencent, and so on. We know that those platform economy models are catalyzing much more dynamic growth through the synergistic effects compared to traditional models. I would argue that the One Belt, One Road initiative is a pioneering international framework based on this new platform concept, serving as a role model for global cooperation. We therefore, the World Economic Forum is fully committed to supporting the One Belt, One Road initiative, and we are proud to sign later this afternoon, in this respect, a collaboration agreement to leverage the World Economic Forum's platform for the Belt and Road initiative in the best possible ways, and, among others, to associate with this initiative the global business community. Fifth, this initiative is a positive narrative in a world which is losing its trust in its capability to really improve the future. Since the One Belt, One Road initiative was launched in 2013, the world economy has come under increasing downward pressure. Traditional frameworks of regional peace and cooperation are being torn apart by nationalist forces. The bond and road spirit can be a model for other regions to follow in order to deal with such challenges. Strong regional cooperation is not a threat to globalization, but a major building block for successful global cooperation. In a world that is becoming more multipolar, more interconnected, more driven by fast and often disruptive change, we have to combine global responsibility with regional, national, and local, and as it is the case with this initiative, historical roots to strive for global harmony in regional diversity. Global harmony in regional diversity is the base for a true global civilization. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, we know that innovation holds the key to unlocking new growth models. As President Xi reminded us in Davos, the G20 leaders reached an important consensus at the 2016 Hangzhou Summit, which was to take innovation as a key driver and new driving force for growth for both individual countries and the global economy. I understand there is a Chinese saying, Yao Jiangfu, Xianxiu Lu. If you want to get rich, build a road. I would update this to say, if you seek prosperity, build connectivity. Let us join together with our brains, with our hands, but also with our hearts to make this initiative a core element of the vision outlined by President Xi Jinping on the 17th January in Davos, the vision of an integrated, open, inclusive, sustainable, and above all, collaborative world.
Thank you, Dr. Schwab. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, just now, the 14 heads of state and government representatives, heads of international organizations, and president of the World Economic Forum shared their insights on international cooperation on Belt and Road Initiative. In keeping with the strategic vision outlined by President Xi at the opening ceremony about cooperation on building Belt and Road, they provided in-depth analysis on the economic situation in the world and also the importance of the Belt and Road on promoting economic globalization and building regional and global partnerships. The participants discussed the priority areas, cooperation mechanisms, and the means for building the Belt and Road. They had a full exchange of views and reached a broad consensus and offered a number of well-targeted solutions, which have laid a solid foundation for the success of the Leaders' Roundtable of the Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation. This afternoon, we are going to hold 6 thematic sessions on policy, infrastructure, financial, trade, and people-to-people connectivities and think tank exchanges. Some 200 ministers, heads of international organizations, heads of leading companies, experts of leading think tanks, and well-known international figures will be invited for in-depth discussion on how we can work together to promote the building of the Belt and Road. This brings us to the end of the plenary session of the high-level dialogue. Thank you all.